Welcome to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I'm Connor Williams. We're doing a match preview ahead of the Crystal Palace Everton game. I'm joined by Diyar from Back of the Nest. Firstly, mate, how are you? Welcome to the channel again.
Yeah, I'm good. I've been better regarding Palace, but thank you for having me on.
Oh, it's not a problem, mate. It's not a problem. So, give me your thoughts on Crystal Palace's season so far.
That's interesting. Look, we're brought in a new manager, Patrick Vieira, and the fixtures that we've had, we have had the hardest fixtures to start the season. We faced all the top 8 sides basically, but in that run, we only lost 2 games against Chelsea and Liverpool. We didn't pick up that many wins, but we had positive performances, positive draws that you could easily turn to wins. And now we've got the winnable fixtures that you so-called winnable fixtures. And we've struggled with that. In the last 3 games, we've lost. We lost against Leeds 1-0, last second goal. Against United, we lost 1-0 as well. And Villa at home, we lost 2-1. And I think the main reason for that is due to injuries. We haven't had that many injuries, but we've had injuries to significant players like Joachim Andersen and Jason McCarthy, who's been very good for us this season. And I feel like Patrick Vieira is trying to figure out the alternatives. So it's been a good start to the season if you exclude the last 3 games. But I guess every team will have their highs and lows in the season. It's about how you get out them lows. And I still have trust in Vieira to get out of it. And we should have the likes of Joachim Andersen coming back as well. So yeah, we're sitting around 13th in the league or 14th. I'm not too sure, but you're not that far off the top 10, even though you're 13th, 14th. It's like 1 win or 2 wins that you're like top 10 or even top 7. So it's that kind of season. So take it game at a time. Last 3 games, if you ignore it, it's been a fantastic start for us.
Yeah, like you said, the table is very, very close. We know that from experience. Give me your thoughts on our season so far at Everton, looking outside in.
So Everton, it was always going to be difficult, just with the manager, Rafa Benitez. When he first joined Everton, I just thought he has to have a good start or you can easily go and get the sack. But it really isn't just Rafa Benitez, is it? You're talking about the director of football, Marcel Brands. You're talking about your owner as well. I just feel like with Everton, you've had injuries, and I think sometimes people do forget about that. But it's bigger than injuries. It's just, first of all, with your manager Rafa Benitez, it reminds me similar in a way of you mentioned it on our channel, Sam Allardyce and Roy Hodgson. It's throwback football. It's defensive football, and with watching other clubs and seeing the likes of, I don't know, even the likes of Palace, we've changed our style. We're more modern football, pressing and attacking. It must get a bit frustrating in that aspect. And forget about that, he's coming from Liverpool. And then you got Marcel Brands and you got your owners who spent so much money. And the problem is not with spending the money, it's about what you do with that money. They seem clueless with the signings that you got. You're bringing in different types of manager. You went from Marco Silva to Ancelotti to Rafa Benitez. You brought in some questionable signings. You've overpaid on players. And now you're linked with players that are about 30 years old that are pretty much done with their careers. And they're looking to join you guys. And that's not going to be good for you guys in the future. So with Everton, I think the problem is bigger than what it is on the pitch. But on the pitch, of course, you beat Arsenal on Monday. I think it was a solid performance. You had some disallowed goals. But overall, I just think you need to get your identity back. I think that's what's missing. And there's too many question marks right now, looking as a neutral and just listening to Everton fan talking about it and listening to journalists talk about it. It just doesn't seem right. And I think someone just needs to step in and just say, all right, enough is enough. Let's sort this out. What are we standing as a football club? What is the type of football that we want to play? What is the type of players that we want to get in? And from there onwards, you'll be much better, because we had a similar feeling at Crystal Palace under Roy Hodgson. We had so many experienced players, and it's not just about having them players. They might be experienced, but injuries play a part. These players, they're coming towards the end of their career. They're going to be injured, wages. All these things combined, it just didn't help us. And this summer we said enough is enough. Let's try and fix our identity. And we've done that, and we've brought in younger players, have a more balanced squad, and it helps us, and it's helped us out so far. So I think you have to just go back to the drawing board and start again, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the problems. We keep going back to the drawing board that often. There's not many managers around that we've winked at the minute.
Yeah.
We're on about managers, and obviously you've mentioned you guys have changed your managers this summer. You've gone with Patrick Vieira. Give me your thoughts on Vieira so far as a manager. How's he doing? Do the fans like him?
Yeah, well, we've loved him apart from the last 3 games. I still love him. because I know that football is not a straightforward game. It's not going to be, oh, we're going to draw, win every single game. You are going to have this. You are Crystal Palace and we have injuries. So, of course, you're going to have a bad spell. But Patrick Vieira as manager, I love him. When he first got appointed, he wasn't the first choice appointment, but I love that fact as well. I love the underdogs at Crystal Palace. We were underdog football club when we first got promoted to the Premier League. We shouldn't have stayed up. And so far, we've done well in terms of staying up. So Patrick Vieira, with his coaching stuff, they've implemented a style. With Crystal Palace, it came to a point where we've been in the Premier League for nearly 10 years. And every single year, apart from Frank de Boer, about 4 games, it's pretty much been survival. Survive. It's getting boring. It was like, what are we trying to do as a football club? Surely at some point, just trying to survive is going to cost us in itself, and we're going to go out without trying. So the club realized that, you know what, let's go out there and let's actually try to win football games. Let's try to bring a manager that will, develop players. And we tried that with Patrick Vieira. Patrick Vieira is a Premier League legend, and some people were saying, look what he done at New York, look what he done at Nice as well. But how many times have those people watched Patrick Vieira in them clubs? I didn't watch Patrick Vieira, but I looked into him and it wasn't as bad as people put him out to be. But, he's come in, he's done a solid job. We've changed our identity, way more pressing, way more attacking football. And, I love him to bits, and hopefully long may it continue. Look, we've been unlucky so far this season in terms of not picking up way more points. We should have won the Arsenal game. Corner kick in the last kick of the game that cost us. Brighton game, last kick of the game that cost us. And talking about them games, you have 4 more points. So the performances overall have been positive considering the opponent and the short span of time that Vieira's had to change the style of football. And, it will take a bit of time, of course. What's interesting now is about what Vieira does on the lows. We've seen what he does when he's in a comfort zone. And now if he does make the changes, if he doesn't panic all of a sudden, I think he'll be a great manager. And I think he's been hugely underrated this season, considering the squad that we had and the manager that we had before and the style of football that he's changed to.
Yeah, I'm going to be completely honest with you, mate. Once Roy Hodgson went at the end of last season,
you're not the only one.
Yeah, I was a little bit worried about where you were going to go. Obviously, he steadied the ship for years, and then once you get rid of the captain, it was a bit like, who's going to steady the ship? Obviously, Diyar is not the only fresh face that's come in for you, which helps massively. Just tell us a little bit about the transfer business in the summer. You made a couple of very good signings.
Yes, we've got Mark Guay from Chelsea, Conor Gallagher on loan from Chelsea as well. And then we brought in Olise from Reading, £8 million, which is a bargain considering he was linked with Bayern Munich just a couple of seasons ago. And £8 million is nothing for a Premier League club nowadays. We brought in Edouard from Celtic as well. So what we try to do is we try to, instead of going for, I don't want to be disrespectful to you guys, but the Rondons and the Townsends and, them type of players, we try to go for a bit younger players that's got room for potential and that we can grow and sell on in the future for a higher price. And so far, it has worked out. Just getting younger players itself doesn't mean anything if they don't have talent. And these players have got talent. So the scouting department has been absolutely brilliant this summer. Of course, Conor Gallagher is on loan and he's been one of our better players so far this season. But we brought in so many, not so many new players, but we changed half of the squad basically. We got rid of so many players. That's the one area. And we brought in these players and we still have players that have been at the club for 5 years. So it's not an easy job for a manager to implement new players, the old players, getting rid of some leaders like Gary Cahill in your side. And, Vieira's come in and he has a hierarchy at the club. You can see that who's doing what with his backroom stuff, even the players on the pitch, who are the leaders, who look after the younger players. So overall, I think our transfer business this summer was needed because we had so much, I don't want to say deadwood, but so many experienced players that were reaching towards the end of their career. And we got rid of them. And these new signings just adds that balance to the squad. We've got experience, but we've also got younger talent as well.
Yeah, a lot of the players that you signed, I quite like. I like Edouard. We were linked with him. Like I said, Elise, I was really surprised by how little you got. How little you got most of your players for this summer. To be fair,
we spent money. To be fair, we have spent. If you look at Crystal Palace as a football club, we don't really spend that much. But for example, just Joachim Andersen as well. Forgot about him, but I mentioned him earlier on. We got him as well. For both of our centre half pairings, we pretty much spent around 30 to like £40 million. which doesn't sound like a lot maybe to you guys, because if you do spend money and your problem is not with spending money, but we haven't really had that. And those players they are worth, you have to spend at some point, you have to push on to the next level. We have backed the manager, and now it's on Patrick Vieira to get the best out of these players. But yeah, our summer business was pretty much a revolution for Palace fans, because we haven't seen anything like it so far since we got promoted, in terms of the spending money and getting the younger players. But it doesn't mean anything if your manager can't do with those players. So it goes back down to, with you guys with Benitez, have you got the squad for Benitez? I feel like you got creative players in there that might not suit Benitez's style of play, but that might suit, maybe Ancelotti. So it's about having that squad for the right manager, which was key for Palace. And I think we've got it pretty much straight on this summer.
So obviously we've mentioned, a couple of the players that you like. You said Conor Gallagher. Give me your rundown of the best performing players at Palace. And I don't want to say the worst, because nobody wants to, rip their own players, but the ones that are probably less as effective for Palace. I think less effective is probably the nicest way to say that.
Best performing players this season, Conor Gallagher, of course. He's very look, Conor Gallagher's played in the Premier League. We've seen him with West Brom. He's also played in the Championship as well. But the Conor Gallagher that we're seeing right now, I don't think anyone's seen it before. He is very good defensively. He's very good going forward. He's a proper box-to-box player. And there's already been talks about Tuchel talking about, how we want him back and how he's worth, 40 to 50 million pounds, which is kind of crazy because he's only been at Palace for 10 to 12 games. So Conor Gallagher has been massive for us. We talk about Wilfried Zaha. He's another player that everyone talks about, but Conor Gallagher is up there with him this season, or even better than him at some games where we're talking about wins, and he's carried us. Talking about Mark Guehi and Joachim Andersen in the back line, both of them complement each other very well in terms of Mark Guehi can dribble with the ball playing out from the back. Joachim Andersen can ping out them passes where if you're pressing us, you can take 5 plays out of the game. So we've got them two. That's been very good for us. Edouard, he's been playing out wide. He's been solid for us, but down the middle, he scored a couple of goals as well. In terms of the less performing players, there isn't that many, to be fair, at Palace, as weird as it may sound. We're sitting 30th, 40th in the league, and you might think there's a couple, but I would just say it's controversial, but Jordan Ayew, not many Palace fans rate him. But I feel like he does a solid job considering our right back, Joe Ward, he's a good footballer, but he's not your modern fullback. And, Nathaniel Klein as well, he's coming towards the end of his career as well. So Jordan Ayew needs to play down the right-hand side to support them. But apart from that, there hasn't been really less performing players. I mean, Wilfried Zaha hasn't been on form in the last 3 games. So that's been a surprise to us. We're not too sure exactly what's going on there. Is he losing pace, or is he struggling with players out with injuries like James McArthur's? That's not supporting him. So yeah, there hasn't been that many less performing players. I think maybe Jordan Ayew and Wilfried Zaha, and that's me reaching.
All right, no problem. So what ideally would be your what league position are you hoping to end the season on?
Cool. See, this is a hard topic because it depends. If you asked me like a month ago, I would say top 10, trying to push for 10th place. I think it's realistic with this Palace squad. We've got quality there. We've seen that we can be, many teams we're not just Premier League sides, many just football clubs struggle to go to City away and score 2 goals and keep a clean sheet. Not everyone can do that. And it's not just a City game. We beat Tottenham as well. Liverpool game, Jurgen Klopp said that it was his hardest 3-0 win in a very long time, or in his career. So we've had some solid performances. We can beat anyone on our day. And it depends on injuries, really. If we can stay injury-free, then I think top 10 is a realistic finish. But some Palace fans will be happy with just staying up because we've changed our style of football, and it will take a bit of time for the players to get used to it. And maybe we might have to adjust a couple of things to get the best out of the players. But for me, realistically, I think this squad's got enough talent. And some Everton fans might be saying, whoa, I mean, you haven't got that much talent. But from what I've seen so far in the games that we've played and against the opponents that we played, some tough games and some tough opponents, such as West Ham, which we didn't lose against as well, away from home. I think personally we can go top 10 if the squad stays injury-free. Because I genuinely believe that Patrick Vieira and the players have got the talent there. But saying that now, watch us have a relegation battle in the second half of the season.
I was going to say, you might have jinxed it now, mate.
Exactly. Well, to be fair, I didn't jinx it. There was someone else on the podcast who actually talked about 4th to 6th. And ever since then, we've lost 3 games in a row. So, but my jinx is nothing compared to that because, yeah, I don't know why he said that. And he just ruined it for all of us.
So obviously, you've got a lot of good players. We've mentioned them, you've just said them. Which one do you think is going to cause us the most problems?
That's very good question, but very hard question to answer as well. It depends on who starts. I think Joachim Andersen, he should hopefully, fingers crossed, be fit in this game. And if he's fit, we've seen it against the likes of Wolves and other teams that sit back. He can ping out them passes in defense because we play out from the back. And the defenders are as key as the strikers and the wide players in our system in terms of going forward because it all starts with them. And if Joachim Andersen is fit and you guys don't put pressure on him, I think he can find them passes and that could cause you trouble. And in terms of other talent, Tyree Mitchell, like I didn't mention him in terms of the players standing out this season, but it's a bit of a disrespect to him because he's been our better player so far this season. And it's that kind of player that he performs week in, week out that we don't really need to talk about him. He's having Aaron Wan-Bissaka type of numbers when he was at Palace. And when you talk about Palace, you talk about Zars, you talk about the Gallaghers, you talk about maybe Mark Guedes, and you talk about the new signings like Edwards. But Tyree Mitchell, he's very solid on the left-hand side. So overall, I think it starts from a defense, and them 2 players, you have to watch out for them. And also, Edward, if he plays down the middle, which hopefully he does do, because Vieira has been playing him out wide ever since the Arsenal game. I'm not too sure why. If he plays down the middle, he can be good with the press, and also his finish in front of the goal is excellent. So I think it's them 3 players, and it depends on Conor Gallagher and who plays in midfield. But there's so many players to pick out. We haven't got like top 4 squad. I'm acting like all these players can cause you damage, but it just depends on who turns up on a day. But there are enough players there to go and cause you guys trouble. Whether you're talking about defense, attack, or midfield, it's just, are they all going to turn up? Is one going to turn up? So it might be Joachim Andersen's day, or it might be Wilfried Zaha's day. You don't really know with Palace, and that's the intriguing thing about it going into this game. Personally, I can list these players, but at the end of the day, Zaha hasn't been on form, or Conor Gallagher struggle without James McCarthy midfield. So I'm not too sure really, but yeah, we've got some quality players there to cause problems.
And on the flip side now, who do you think in the Everton squad is going to cause your Palace the most trouble?
Richarlison's going to score. He's just going to score. And then you got Demarai Gray. And with Demarai Gray, I have watched him so far this season. And does he change positions in terms of where he's playing on the left and the right? Like, is it just always the same area, or because that's the interesting area?
He plays him down the middle for about half an hour, 45 minutes, realises it doesn't work, and then sticks him out wide where he's a lot better. But I think it depends if Townsend plays, because Townsend obviously plays on the right and sort of cuts in. So then he'll play as sort of inverted wingers, but 9 times out of 10 he's starting this number 10 role. And I personally, I don't think you get the best out of him in the number 10 role, but
yeah, out wide is more dangerous cutting in, personally, from what I've seen anyways. Townsend, he's going to score a goal. So saying that, my score prediction on our channel just goes, because Richarlison is going to be on the score sheet, Townsend's going to be on the score sheet. It's just going to happen, ain't it? And Townsend, I'm not too sure. When he first joined you guys, I thought he would be a solid squad player, but of course Benitez has used him more often than not. I think it suits his style of play, and he would want to prove a point against Palace. Of course, he doesn't. When you face against your former club and your former teammates, you want to be out there on the pitch, scoring goals, getting assists. So, but realistically, I think Richarlison is the player that I'm most worried about. He's got pace. His IQ is very good as well on the pitch, and also he was scoring goals against Arsenal. I know he didn't on the score sheet. He didn't show the true reflection, but some marginal offside goals, and you're talking about Richarlison getting a hat-trick easily. So yeah, I think them players, especially your attacking players, they worry me the most.
Not a problem. Who do you think your likely lineup is then? Give us your prediction for how you think Vieira is going to set out.
I think it's going to be a 4-3-3. That's how we like to set up. Sometimes we do change to 4-2-3-1, but I don't think that's going to happen now. I think it's going to be down the right hand side. It's going to be interesting if Nathaniel Klein starts there. I'm not too sure, because Joel Ward was out in the Man United game due to suspension. So it might be Nathaniel Klein. And if Joachim Andersen is fit, fingers crossed he is. Joachim Andersen, Mark Guay, and Tyrick Mitchell as a back line. And then the three in midfield, I expect it to be Kouyaté, Conor Gallagher, and the last player is the interesting one because honestly, I have zero clue. Jeffrey Schlupp played against Man United, and he was basically a spectator on the pitch watching the game. He just had the best seats. He done absolutely nothing. So I don't know if he's going to start Jeffrey Schlupp in this game. But I don't think he will do. I think Will Hughes might have a start for Palace, which we haven't seen that much of him. And then in terms of the front three, another interesting area. Honestly, it's because you guys have Rafa Benitez and we had Roy Hodgson, and it's so predictable the lineups. But with Vieira, it's kind of different. You can't really predict it. Wilfried Zaha, I guess, will start out wide, and then down the middle, he might start Edouard, or it might be Benteke. It just depends on how he's feeling on the day. And down the right hand side, Ayew actually had a solid game, so I think Ayew might start. But then again, don't be surprised if it's Elise, which says it all. Like if I can't predict it, then I guess Benitez won't be able to predict it, which is a good thing about it. And that's the one thing I like about Vieira, the fact that it's just he can change it up whenever. He doesn't have his favourites, and that's going to start week in, week out.
Yeah, that's a very contrast to Rafa Benitez, who I think most Everton fans can pick his lineup with their eyes closed.
We've had that as well. Don't worry. We literally had that for 4 years under Roy Hodgson. I know how you guys feel.
And obviously the 4-3-3 means that you're going to have one more extra body in midfield against our two bodies in midfield, because you'll play Allen and Decore as the two centre mids. So have a feeling he might change it in the second half, but I have a feeling as an Everton fan we're going to have to watch it going, you're being overrun, and waiting for 45 minutes to come. Maybe a little bit easier to predict than this then. Give me your score prediction.
You know what? I said 2-1 on our channel, and I'm just going to stick with that. I have to back my boys. I just said Richarlison and Townsend's going to score. Maybe just one of them. Maybe just Richarlison this game. Let me take it back. I think with last 3 games we've lost 1-0, 1-0, and 2-1 as well. We want to bounce back. We've actually had a week off now, which we've had so many games. I think 3 games in 7 days as well, and hopefully players should be returning from injury, a bit more recovery, a bit more work on the training pitch. I think we've got the talent, and the reason why I'm saying 2-1, if you guys didn't win on Monday, I'll back you boys, because we love giving away wins and giving managers hope. But you guys got that win on Monday, which gives us way more hope than it should in a weird way. So yeah, I'm gonna have to say 2-1 Palace. But I don't think it's gonna be an easy game. I think you guys will definitely score, and it might even end up like a 3-2 or 2-2. It can go either way, but I have to say 2-1.
Yeah, I must admit this fixture isn't as easy as I thought it would be last year. If it was
yeah. Exactly. None of that fun. That fun has ended now.
It's the final question. It's just a little bit of fun. Name your favourite meal deal, main, drink, and your snack. You go to.
Jeez, I haven't had a meal deal in ages, My favourite meal deal, I'll say tuna and sweet corn pasta, and then I'll go for a smoothie, strawberry banana, and then I'll go for, I don't really have crispy now. I'll go for, it depends how I'm feeling. I can go for, I don't know, cheese and onion sounds a bit too lame for me, to be fair. What's that? Flame grilled steak. Yeah. I think I'm going to go for that as well. You have a bit of tuna, you have a bit of flame grilled steak, and smoothie. It's a bit all over the place, I'll be honest. But I like it. That's what I'll go for.
Fair enough. There is a lot of flavours going on in that, but
exactly. That's the fun of it.
No problem. I just want to say thank you for coming on, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you and get some insight into Crystal Palace this season.
Yeah, thank you for having me on.
Not a problem. Don't forget, guys, to comment down below your score predictions on the game. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the Toffee Blues. Don't forget to check out Back of the Nest, their channel with you can see me talking to you about Everton and the board and just the mess that we're in at the minute. It gives a little bit more insight. And don't forget, you can get any of your Everton merchandise through the link in the description down below, which helps the channel out. You can get your Retro Score t-shirts as well. and there's still Toffee Blues jumpers that you can buy. And most importantly, stay safe.